what's going on, everybody? It's Monday, July 11th. In this video, going over my MLB PrizePicks plays. Let's go ahead and get started. As always, if you enjoyed the videos, appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe if you have not already. I'll have my DFS picks tweeted out on Twitter. It's only a 7-game slate, and for whatever reason, the Padres in cores going up against Jose Urena are like super cheap. You have like under sub 4,000 for most of their hitters, under 3K for some of their hitters. So definitely looking at the Padres stack for sure. And we got a lot of good pitchers today, like Nola, Scherzer. So sprinkle some of them in with the Padres stack. That's probably the route I'll end up going with in DFS. But I wanted to make a PrizePicks video, so let's go ahead and get started. The first prop I'm going to be looking at is plug in a fantasy score prop and put in Sean Manaea right now. He's at 26.5. Right now his strikeouts are only at 4.5, which also looks appealing. The only concern with him is that he's pitching in cores, but he's still been a very good pitcher all season. Super steady. Like if you look at his strikeouts, for example, he's averaging 6 strikeouts per season, and for some reason it's at 4.5. He's hit this 13 of 15 games this year, and he's had a couple of over 7 strikeout games. And this opponent's the Rockies aren't the best at striking out against lefties, but they still have some strikeouts in them, and it's just way bumped down. Like maybe 5.5 would make some sense, but it's at 4.5, and he's going up against a lineup that does have a lot of righties, but it also will have his fair amount of lefties with McMahon and with Charlie Blackmon. So if we look at the matchup here on Plate IQ, you can see a couple lefties that he's going to face, a lot of righties, but some guys still do have over a 20% strikeout rate. On the season, Manaea is averaging a 25% K rate, which is above average. And if you look at his matchups, he's done pretty good on lefties and righties, similar, striking out righties almost 26%. So just a really low number. Expect them to win going up against Jose Urena. They're heavily favored, so he's able to get the win today. Should have no problem, in my opinion, hitting over 26.5, and hopefully they can get the quality start as well. Another over fantasy that looks pretty solid is going to be Max Scherzer, over 37.5. He's going up against the Braves, which do strike out an absolute ton. He's coming off his season high in strikeouts last performance with 11. On the season, he has a 33% strikeout rate, and every single hitter in this Braves lineup has a strikeout rate over 20%. If Max Scherzer has the stuff like he did his last game, he should be looking at possibly another double-digit strikeout performance. You got a lot of hitters in here with over 24% strikeout rates, and lefties and righties he strikes out really well this year. Righties are striking out 37 or 35.7%, and he's looking at like 5 righties, 4 lefties here for Max Scherzer. So you can take his strikeouts if you wanted to, but it's at 8 on PrizePicks. I think you can probably get the fantasy because I see him having a quality start. Going up against Max Fried, maybe get the win, but maybe he doesn't even need that if he's able to rack up 10 strikeouts again. So those are the 2 over fantasy that I like for pitcher. In terms of first inning runs allowed, I would look at the Mets game. It's not currently on the board. We'll see if they decide to add it later. But looking at the Phillies here, Aaron Nola against Miles Mikolas, under half a run in the first inning. So if we look here, see that Nola so far his away NRFI record is 7-1 overall. Aaron Nola's NRFI 16-1. Mikolas is also solid, 7-1 at home overall. 15-2 is 82.5, 82.7% implied total. Minus 125 on Sportsbooks, I guess, but that one looks really appealing. They do not have the Braves one, which also looks really good if they do decide to add that. And then maybe if you're taking a one run in the first inning at least, I'll be looking at definitely the Coors one, which have very favored to score a run, minus 186 on Sportsbooks. But I always have a lot more confidence taking the under than the over, so give me under half a run against Mikolas and Aaron Nola. And Nola got snubbed potentially with the with the All-Star voting. It did not make it. Neither did Zach Wheeler, which was surprising. Those are 3 props I like. Looking at total bases for another one, we have O'Neal Cruz at half a base. Take the over for as long as that stays on the board. We only need a hit for him. Only concern is it's a lefty-lefty situation, so he might be batting like 7th in the lineup, maybe 8th. But Trevor Ryder still gives up a high batting average to both sides of the plate. Lefties are batting over 260 against him. Righties hitting a little bit more, like over 270. So don't mind taking the over. He still will get some at-bats against reliever, hopefully. Maybe at least 1, maybe 2, depending on how long Trevor Rogers lasts. But anytime he can get just 1 hit for a guy like O'Neal Cruz, I'll take that. Even though he has been up and down this year, I still think that one looks solid. And then a over fantasy that looks pretty appealing is going to be in that Coors game. Looking at the Padres side, he got a lot of good options here. Even like the Phillies are pretty affordable with their fantasy scores going up against Mikolas. Not the highest total in this game either. But give me over fantasy on a lot of the Padres are my favorite, like Luke Voigt, Manny Machado. I'm going with Manny Machado right now over 8.5 fantasy now that he's back, and does not have a poor matchup at all against Jose Urena. Has like an 8% strikeout rate this year, and has a high ERA, high xFIP. He's completely fallen off after some brief mediocrity with the Marlins a few years ago, but just not able to strike anybody out now. Gives up a lot of hard contact. So this is what I got today. Over 26.5 fantasy, Sean Manaea. Over 37.5 fantasy for Max Scherzer. Nerfy in the Phillies-Cardinals game. Over half a base for O'Neal Cruz, and over 8.5 fantasy for Manny Machado. Also think that Bobby Witt Jr. looks solid. Over 7.5 fantasies and having a great season. He gives you stolen base upside as well. So if you're not feeling O'Neal Cruz here against a lefty, you can take the over 8 to 7.5 fantasy on Bobby Witt. Depends on what you want to do. We'll see. Maybe depending on the batting order. But do like Bobby Witt as well. Wind blowing out. This is like a 5.2 total for the Royals. So maybe I'll replace Cruz with Bobby Witt. But if you make multiple entries, you can put both in if you wanted to. But that's it for the video. Best of luck today. Hope you guys make some money, and I will see you all next time.